Yes. All right. I think I'm gonna have a open night. I'm talking about whatever comes into anyone's mind wants to be part of a more effective lifestyle. How can I say it? That has worked for me very, very, very good. Actually, is not feeling less than no one. I think I can talk about this every day. Actually, I think I can talk. For some reason, that's going to be probably one of my main topics throughout my life. Right? Right. Why is it so sexy and attractive when you feel so high about yourself? In moments that you don't have nothing. That's the point. Of course. When you have something, of course everybody's gonna feel like, you know, you feel good. But what about the moment that we literally don't have anything about ourselves? Are we still do we still contain that same powerful self-worth about us, about being a man in this earth? Right? Hi, what's up? And so yeah, tonight, like I said, I think I can talk about this every day. Every day. It doesn't get old. It doesn't. It doesn't get old. Why is it so sexy, attractive, effective to gain results about anything, right? When you think high about yourself to the point that they might call you, dude, you're delusional, all right? You're delusional. You're in the streets, Alex. You have no vehicle. You have no house, no home, no girl, nothing, no family. And you still carry yourself like this is not it. This is not it. And it's just going to get better for me, regardless of anything. I think that if there's a topic, if there was just a magic lamp that will grant me one desire, right? You can only talk about one thing, right? Through your entire life. It will be this, right? To never feel less about yourself. It just works. It's just magic, man. Magic, right? It works when you hit rock bottom, and it works when you're coming up, and it works when you're up there. It works when you hit rock bottom again. It works at any stage. That's why I love it. And I'll never get bored about talking about it. Right? Hi, what's up? That's why I don't, I'm always excited, inspired to talk to the people I meet, to my family, close friends. There are a few brothers, right? To you guys that if there's a magic pill, if there's a magic formula that you can grab from thin air, is that don't have a victim mentality, man. It's just don't have it. I see it every day, right? What's going on, right? With America and around the world. People don't stop talking about the same thing over and over, over and over, right? We should free this. They should be free. They should have land. This is holy, unholy. Mm. And I have to disagree that talking about something doesn't solve the problem. You can have a you can feel that you're getting somewhere, but at the end of the day, it's something that has to be achieved individually. If a country, I'm sorry, it sounds so bad. If a country, whatever it is, a community, a people, a certain person, it's struggling with something, whatever it is, finances, education, survival, anything, it's up to him. Always will be. It's up to him, right? And I have a saying. It's not mine. People have repeated it over and over. For people to hand you a hand, for people to reach out and give you a hand, you have to help yourself first. It's always been like that, and it's always going to be like that, right? Always. It doesn't matter how much you're on your knees, how much you pray, how much you scream, you cry, you fight. Even fighting, it becomes irrelevant to a certain extent, right? Because to be prepared to fight, you have to have a mindset. What are you fighting for? Okay, it's not about just reacting to something, to some opponent, and you don't know what are you fighting for. That's that's really a big one in life. Victim mentality, hmm, versus what? Versus winner mentality, right? So if I'm not winning, how can I have a winner mentality? Good question. Huh? Just by you acknowledging that you don't have a victim mentality, that whatever your circumstances are right now doesn't determine who you are, and you have to be so stubborn and obsessed with that thought that people are going to call you mad, crazy, delusional. I said it. And you have to be okay with it. Because you can say, okay, I have a strong self esteem and I don't feel less than nobody. But it's not until the critics comes, it's not until you being criticized, right? It's not until people start pointing the finger at you, say like that. See, don't be like that guy. He's delusional. He doesn't know nothing about life, and you still keep going, right? Without talking back, without feeling angry or happy. Mhm. This movement is in silence, right? And it pays off, right? It will pay off loudly. Okay, you work in silence, and it's gonna pay off in loudness. Okay, that's how it is. Without you trying to be loud, right? So there's something that when people ask for help, there's something very unattractive with that. And I'm gonna hurt a lot of people's feeling sometimes. It's not my intention, but I've met a lot of people who struggle with drugs, who have big traumas, right? A very dark past, incarceration, sickness, right? And because the mainstream media, communities, people, families, religion have encouraged people to ask for help. Right? And it sounds good on paper. It sounds good right away, like, oh, ask for help. That's being brave. But then you ask for help. We all been there. And then they give you help. Okay. But then you still need more help. Because help doesn't make your life better. It doesn't make you feel that you have achieved something because you're being helped. Okay. It is crazy. I don't know if it has happened to you guys, but sometimes when you haven't asked for help and you were just living with your struggle in silence, but still keeping walking forward, the help will come in somewhere or another without requesting it. And for some reason, it felt very genuine, very real, truthful. Hello, what's up, Jacob? And I believe that you can have zero money in your pocket, but if you feel that you're more worth than $1 million, than any money in the world, automatically people in power, people with connections, can sense that. This is true. Okay, where am I going with this? Uh, I'm just getting kind of tired of looking at young people complaining about a lot of things, right? One of them is that they decide to be single because there are no good women out there, right? And well, I decided to stay single, but my question is like, is that a decision or that's just the outcome because nobody wants you, right? And that's okay, right? We all go through that, but you cannot stay there, right? You can't stay there. Mhm. Can't stay there. And this is kind of like a muscle. It's like muscle. Like when we people who work out or exercise, it's like a muscle that you use it. Like when you use your handwriting, you get good at something eventually that you no longer need to think about it. Mhm. That's why thinking high of yourself will always work. I don't care if they tell you you're arrogant, a loser, right? A brokey, whatever. Mhm. If there's something that I can just say in one sentence, the main difference in this life is people have victim mentality and people have winner mentality. The victim mentality, they think that there's people who are being oppressed. They're being oppressors, right? If you're a victim, then you think that somebody's oppressing you mentally, physically. And the winner mentality, sometimes if he doesn't know how to regulate, he becomes the oppressor, right? It was an interesting book that I read years ago about how this planet attracts two kind of people: people with victim mentality and people with winner mentality, right? So the victims, because it's a world polarity, the victims need a oppressor. An oppressor needs a victim, right? And it's a thing back and forth, until you learn through your own experiences and answers how to get that, how to get out of that duality. And then you stay in the middle, watching the victims, observing them, and at the same time, simultaneously, watching the other end, the oppressors. And it will take time to stay in the middle and observe both of them, right? Because it's a never ending story. It's always back and forth, back and forth. There's no solution. A victim needs an oppressor needs a victim. Okay? It's just the way it is. Right? It's just like the brain, it needs a physical body. Otherwise, it cannot execute nothing. It cannot manifest nothing. So, how to get out of that victim mentality? Well, a lot of times you might go through that oppressor mentality. It's normal. It's normal, right? We all been there. Your girlfriend dumps you when you were young in high school or even at an older age, dumps you, takes all your money, everything, you're on the streets, right? Then you say, you know what? I'm going to do the same. Then you meet another person and you do the same, right? It creates a ripple effect, a domino effect. So now from the victim, you became an oppressor, okay? And then after an oppressor, you have to realize that this oppressive mentality is taking the joy in life about everything that it's around you, right? You get to the point that you say that, okay, I've been in both sides and I know how it feels on both sides, okay? And there has to be another way that I can now leave out of this matrix. This is what I will call a matrix. Not get it out of this world and get it out of like being rich, right? Because you still can be rich and be an oppressor. You're still trapped in the matrix, right? For me, the best analogy that I can say about escaping, if there's a such thing, that I don't believe because you're in a physical body, so you are already in the matrix, right? We're run by numbers and letters, right? But if I can put a best analogy, an example to give you an idea, how can you get out of that? Is knowing that there's a middle, there's a neutral ground for everything. There's a neutral ground for love, for discipline, for belief system, for work, for sleep, mm, for anything, for eating. There's always that middle ground. That middle ground that that's not the goal, but that's the fulfillment. Mm. That's by default, you will accomplish that by being on both sides. Mm. So I gave you guys an example when you start as a victim mentality, but I haven't given you an example when you start as an oppressor, right? Okay, let's say you were never a victim mentality. Nobody took advantage of you. You were the one who started taking advantage of people. You were a bully and blah blah blah. And then for some reason something touched you. You have an insight, a dream, a premonition, whatever, right? And now you feel guilt that you've been taking advantage of people, and now you want to make it good. You want to get back while you have been taken, right? It's not bad. That's the process. But now I'm starting to the under end, right? So now I'm starting as an oppressor. Mm. So then an oppressor says, I've been bad, I've been a horrible person, I've been a beast, right? I need to make up for all the suffering and pain that I have inflicted towards people. Mm. And it's still valid, it's legit. But every time we need to remind ourselves that it's okay. It's the process that we have to go through, right? Keeping in mind that none of them it's better. Mm. If there's a decision, right, at a moment in your life, at our lives, is that we have to stay in the middle ground. Why is it so essential? Not only important, but crucial, right, for your own well-being, mentally and physically, and for your offspring. Okay, because this creates a ripple effect. Just because you're in the middle ground now, that doesn't mean you're not going to have a ripple effect or people are not going to benefit from it. Just like people benefit when you were in one side as a victim, who was benefiting from them? The oppressor. When you were on the oppressor side now, who was benefited? Who was benefiting from? You as an oppressor, right? So now finding that middle ground will give you not only the authority, whatever you want to call it, authority, power, but I will say a sophisticated way of thinking, right? Your thought process will be more supreme, will be more clearly, right? Your emotions are still there. They're never gonna be gone until you die, obviously. So the emotions are still there, right? So what is the feeling? What is it? How do I know when I'm in the middle ground? When you still feel not sorrow, but you get stirred by people's tears, right? You still look at people suffering and pain, but you cannot fool yourself that by helping him or her or them will make their lives better in the long run. That's the key. Mm. Help, it's a short term accomplishment, it's a short term success. All right. But no, I'm not ex military. I'm not. Yeah. But hey, what's up? Thank you. I got you. So that's that's the that's the proof. This is the sensation, and this is the new life that you will have in the middle ground between a victim mentality and an oppressor mentality. You still feel for people, you still feel the pain, all right? You still want to do something about it. And I'm not saying you should not do it, you will do it. But at the end of the day, because you're in the middle ground, you've been in both sides, you know that help is only necessary in the short term. But because we have a life, and life is eternal, okay? Regardless if we have a physical body or not. So helping somebody, emphasizing it, interferes with his eternal growth. You interfere with that person's or that people growth. And if you are interfering with somebody's growth, you're killing that person. And not only metaphorically, I'm being honest, you're killing that person. You're not allowing him or her or them to acknowledge that they can go from victim to oppressor, from oppressor to the middle ground. So now you my guys might be saying, okay, if I start as an oppressor, can I just go to the middle ground? Do I have to go through the other side of the opposite? Well, you don't have to, but life is going to take you because life has to show you. Life has to show you what it feels to be there. Okay. I could put you an example. If I'm eating right now, right, an apple, a fruit, whatever, and if I tell you how this apple, how this pear tastes, all I'm saying is I'm just making a fool of yourself and myself, right? Because you want to taste it, you want to go through your own experience, right? But if I throw at you that apple, that pear, and you start, eating it, now you understand where I'm at. Now you understand my smile, right? When I say, man, this is very sweet, it's very good, right? You have to taste it. That's the word. You have to taste it. So either side is just a natural thing, right? It's a natural thing. You start in one extreme and you will go to the other extreme, okay? Because we have to be searching for our own answers, right? And at that moment, remember, guys, at that moment, you are going through a lot of things, right? Because you already came out from the other end of the stick. Mhm. And you think at that moment, the only answer is to go to the other extreme, right? It is not until you go to the other extreme you realize that, okay, what is this, right? And then you find that the middle ground, it's the place to be, right? Because you still are observing both worlds, right? And by being the observer, how people come from a victim mentality to the oppressor, from the oppressor to the victim, and to the middle, this is how you become godlike. Mhm. This is how I will use the word alchemy, right? This is for the first time you will understand what alchemy is, right? Back in the day, alchemy was what? The practice of trying to make gold out of lead, right? They'll have lead or metal. They're trying to make into gold, right? Then in the process, they will not achieve gold, but they will achieve repetition, right? Failures, successes, right? And that's the whole point, right? It was the whole journey about it. So those two mentalities exist in this world. We have them on a daily basis. You just have to look, right? Introspection is a must, right? Uh, if you are asking this question, once you have achieved the both sides of the stick, right? The both sides of the world, mm, the victim, the oppressor, and you become the middle ground, is there a chance that you can fall back into one side? Absolutely. We're still humans, but you come back quickly, right? Uh, You can come back quickly. Mhm. Because now you know. Mhm. Now you're aware. Mhm. And it's just like snapping out of it. Mhm. But once you don't know that there's a middle ground, you cannot snap out of it because that's the only thing you know, because that's the only thing that you've been taught. Mhm. So, yeah, good news. Of course, you can go back to both sides. This is a never ending story, but because you already win, you already experience both sides, okay? You snap out of that, mhm, with your daily introspection and you come back quickly, quickly. Mhm. And there's just that's the cycle, right? Awareness, awareness, and you give you the fulfillment, right? The joy, your true vocation, the true call that every single person, people in this planet have, right? Remember, guys, helping somebody, including you, if you have somebody helping you, it only works in short term. Because we are eternal beings, it's not good, right? You have to go through the fire. When people are not helping you, you should be happy. You should be joyful because they're not restraining you, right? They're not holding you back, okay? The less help you need from people, right? The better and the faster you will grow into the middle ground. Because life is long term, and it's so intoxicating asking for help and receiving that help, right? But then we become codependent, and that's not good, right? In the long term, right? So I'm gonna wrap it up with this one. If you believe that you're being oppressed, you believe that people are taking advantage of you, accept it. But acceptance without knowing that that's just one side of the story, it's being an ignorant and rejecting life. If you're the oppressor, the one who's taking advantage of people, you need to know that there's gonna time in life that somebody or you, somebody that you care, is gonna be taken care, is gonna be taken, they're gonna be taken advantage of, right? Finding the middle ground, guys, it's not the best choice, right? It's the only ground that we can truthfully become what we meant to be, divine beings, godlike beings, right? Divine beings on this earth, right? Have a good night.